Tonight, on Legislative Review. The Senate unveils their proposed transportation budget. Plus, a contentious bill on farm tourism. You're watching Legislative Review.
Thank you for watching Legislative Review. I'm Angela Nolasco with today's top discussions in the state legislature.
The Senate discussed their proposed 2025 to 2027 transportation budget at a Transportation Committee hearing Tuesday afternoon. Spread across 4 different bills, the budget includes 2 contrasting plans to address the state's budget shortfall and pave the way for critical transportation projects. The first proposal, known as the All Cuts Plan, focuses on reducing state spending. It cuts $941 million from the capital project budget and slashes $156 million from state agency operations. If approved, this would delay key construction projects like the North Spokane Corridor and the addition of new hybrid electric ferries, and could impact essential services at agencies like the Washington State Department of Transportation and the Department of Licensing. But there's a catch. Leaders say this approach doesn't go far enough. Senate Transportation Committee Chair Mark Elias called for new revenue to balance the budget in a press release shared earlier this week, saying, quote, "A bare-bones all-cuts budget is unacceptable when we've made promises to Washingtonians. We need to finish projects, preserve our infrastructure, and make our roads safer." On the other hand, the second proposal takes a more balanced approach. This bipartisan plan introduces a revenue and spending package designed to address the budget gap while keeping Washington's transportation system moving forward. A $10.2 billion revenue plan spread across 6 years, it includes several new funding streams, such as shifting 0.3% of the state's sales tax to transportation, generating $800 million annually starting in 2027. Senate Republicans, like Ranking Member Curtis King from Yakima, praised the bipartisan nature of the budget in the same press release, saying that it was, quote, "developed with collaboration and compromise from both sides, which he hopes will allow the state to finish long-awaited highway projects, improve safety, and get the ferry system back on track." Additionally, the budget proposes new vehicle registration fees, $50 for electric cars and $25 for hybrid vehicles, as well as a 6-cent per gallon increase in the state fuel tax, a point which tax activist Tim Eyman testified against during the hearing.
Just wow. The amount of tax increases that are being proposed here is really shocking. The paper mile tax is not on there, one shining point, but massive increase in the gas tax, make us the highest in the nation, higher charges on licensing your vehicle, all sorts of various charges. It's getting to the point where it's just not affordable to live in our state. All these tax increases all add up. And it is agonizing to think how much the struggle is for a working family now in the state of Washington. If you triple the increases in property taxes, if you increase the gas tax, if you do all these various things, I don't know who's left that can afford to live here.
Other notable funding sources include a 10% luxury vehicle tax for cars costing over $100,000, a new $1 per person charge on large events with over 20,000 guests, and a $10 surcharge on all traffic violations. These measures, along with a higher fuel tax, are designed to help raise the revenue needed to fund infrastructure projects. As for how the money will be spent, the $9.2 billion spending plan aims to preserve and improve Washington's infrastructure. A major focus is ensuring that important projects, like the North Spokane Corridor and upgrades to State Route 18, stay on track without any delays. The plan also allocates $450 million for highway safety, addressing Washington's concerning traffic safety crisis. Traffic fatalities are at a 33-year high, and the budget prioritizes improving safety across the state's roads with investments in local projects, railroad crossings, and reducing lane departures, particularly in rural areas. Testifying to support the proposed budget, Justin Lighton of the Washington Transit Association.
We appreciate the work, the chair and the members of the committee in working to sustain our grant programs within the budget, particularly those commitments made, not just in Connecting Washington, but Move Ahead Washington as well. We certainly appreciate the approach in trying to provide further investments in public transportation around safety and green transportation.
The proposal also includes reforms to streamline project approvals, including a new program to speed up fish barrier projects and a framework for leveraging public-private partnerships to get the work done efficiently. In sum, the proposed transportation budget offers a mix of cuts, new revenue, and reforms aimed at maintaining the state's transportation system operations and its growing population. Discussed at a public hearing held by the House Local Government Committee Wednesday was Senate Bill 5055, which aims to promote agritourism while providing flexibility for agricultural businesses, more specifically through their building code compliance. The bill proposes to exempt agricultural buildings used for agritourism activities less than 6 months each year from the building code standards that apply to commercial properties, except for life and fire safety standards. Agritourism refers to activities on farms and ranches where visitors can experience rural life, like farm festivals, corn mazes, horseback riding, fishing, and educational programs about farming and ranching. This means that farms and ranches offering seasonal agritourism activities wouldn't need to meet the same requirements as businesses open year-round, helping them save on construction and renovation costs. However, the bill ensures that life safety and fire safety requirements still remain in place to protect visitors and workers. Republican Senator Judy Warnick is the bill's prime sponsor.
It's tough to be a small farmer. And so what I'm trying to do is help those small farmers who are maybe adjacent to a large farmer to be more productive.
Supporters say this will give agricultural businesses the flexibility they need to expand their agritourism operations without being burdened by strict building codes, and boost Washington's rural economy by encouraging more visitors to explore the state's farms and ranches. However, the bill was met with opposition. Critics like Michaela Hughes of the Western Washington Agricultural Association believe it will harm small farms and affect food sustainability.
It threatens the viability of working farms by allowing the continued conversion of agricultural land to incompatible uses through the broad definition of agritourism under RCW 424-830. This bill weakens agriculture's priority on farmland by allowing easier access for businesses engaged in non-compatible, non-agricultural activities. Cultural events is a term that has already been broadly interpreted to include weddings and special event venues. These activities have nothing to do with agriculture or the production of food and fiber. This policy shift threatens food security by prioritizing tourism over agriculture.
Washington State Building Code Council Director Dustin Kerb also shared his remarks with the committee.
A broad exemption from commercial building code requirements for activities related to agritourism as defined in RCW 4.24.830 will result in a different interpretation in different jurisdictions. A clearer direction on the aspects of codes that are not intended to apply would render a more uniform application across the state.
No one publicly testified in favor of Senate Bill 5055, which the Senate passed on a 48-1 vote in early March.
That's it for this episode of Legislative Review. Make sure to join us nightly at 8 and 11 for your highlights of the state legislature. And follow us on social media. Have a good night.